But we learned that we opened our eyes to like what we can now do, how we can move forward. And it takes that, that sweat equity to get you to learn these things and open your eyes up that, hey, you can go into.
As an operator, I know other investors are romanticizing multifamily investing, and I'm looking to learn from other investors' mistakes. I know you are too, and you found the right place. Welcome to Myers Methods Presents Multifamily Missteps. Go. Hey everybody, and welcome to Myers Methods Presents Multifamily Missteps. I'm your host Jerome, and I got the brothers on with me today, Oscar and German. How are you guys?
Good,
great, man. Thanks for having us.
This is going to be fun, man. We got 3 people on the mic. Zoom's going to be confused because people are going to be talking at the same time, but it's going to be all good. Oscar, do me a favor and let the listeners know the best way to get in touch with you, and then German, you can jump in afterwards.
All right. So the best way really is either through Facebook or IG and LinkedIn now. We're under the Millionaire Unlisted. That's our social platform on IG and Facebook. If you message us on there, we respond like in a minute. I mean, we're on it. So yeah. German.
Yeah, we're very active. Like my brother said, LinkedIn. We're very active in LinkedIn. Both you can find us under our names, German Buendia and Oscar Buendia. And then the Millionaire Enlisted on IG, on Instagram. We're very, very active.
Perfect. And so now that they know how to get in touch with you, tell us a little bit about your background, how you guys got into multifamily, and what's your current focus?
Cool, man. I'll start off, German. So we kind of 2 different paths. I was doing my own thing, buying a small multifamily. Started here in Colorado Springs. Then actually last year, kind of with my brother, we talked about it and we decided to partner. And initially we weren't not thinking about going huge, big multifamily. We were just thinking buy 1 or 2 Z homes here. Best entry markets are usually the Midwest. The prices are pretty low. You can enter it, right? So call out my brother. Hey man, fly out there. Let's find something. And then Jeremy, I'll let it take it from there as far as like your networking skills and what you did out there.
So I'm a pretty social guy. I went to Ohio and I met hundreds of people. And then I met this lady and she was selling her portfolio. I called my brother and we were like, hey, we need to partner out. We need to find a partner somewhere because this sounds like a good deal. And it was a good deal. And then we ended up buying 14 of her properties, or 20 doors, 13 properties, 20 doors. And then that's how we started into the that's what opened our minds to we can actually get into multifamily, to larger multifamily. But that's basically how we got into this.
Yeah.
Whoa. So how many doors were you at before you bought the 20 unit?
I was at 4.
Yeah, my brother was at 4 and I didn't have anything. I used to do flips and then I stopped for like a year and a half. Flips is not my thing, definitely. I wasn't born for that. So I was just kind of like on the back burner, like following people and listening to podcasts, listening for ideas. And then you hear people talking about different markets, and Ohio was one of them. People were talking about Ohio. And then my brother and I, we decided, hey, let me fly out there, see what's out there. So that's basically it. So my brother had some, I didn't have any.
Okay. So what city in Ohio? Cincinnati or where?
No, it's Lorain, Ohio. It's right outside of Cleveland, but one of the reasons we really like the taxes were lower than Cleveland. And also it's more landlord friendly. So we really went that way.
So talk to me about how you got into the deal, because 4 to 20 is a pretty big jump. How did you this part talk to me?
So okay, bro. So like I said, like I went there. I started putting ads on Facebook. Hey, I'm going from California to Ohio. I'm going on this state to this state, and I want to meet all types of people on real estate. I think the second day that I was there, this lady texted me and she's like, "Hey, I saw your post on Facebook. I'm selling all my properties. I have over 300 properties." And I was like, "Wow." Obviously, that wasn't the plan with my brother. But I texted my brother, and we didn't think we could do it. But you always hear, "Hey, if you find a deal, the money will follow."
Yeah.
So that's where we started trying to get the money and get the partners. So go ahead, Oscar. You
So it was a limiting belief that we had, right? That you couldn't scale quicker. And then once we started negotiating, at first we were going to buy 30 units off of her. And quickly we were looking for funding, we were looking for money. And as we called more people and talked to more people, we learned that actually the higher the number, the easier the funding, to be honest with you. And then we learned that's where like our eyes opened up to private money, private equity, hedge fund firms. Because we called everyone and their mother, like, hey,
Yeah.
like, do you know people who could fund us? How can we do this? We got some pretty good advice. And I would think that would be the first big lesson is, don't be afraid to reach out, because people are always, they're going to help you, but they're of course there's something that they're going to get out of it, whether it's a connection or whether it's, hey, yeah, I'm funding it for you. So they're going to make a percentage of it too. And then luckily we found the person, we got funded. We got funded at through a bridge loan, through a private equity. And then as soon as we stabilize it, we go into a 30-year, and it's at 5%. So we're waiting to this Corona thing to go away, stabilize it, finish stabilizing it, and then we go down to a 5%, 30-year. Right now we're in the 10%. It's ridiculous, but it's still profitable. This thing was in the 11-12% cap. So not, they're all Section 8 right now. So we're working really well on it. However, the issues that we have had is when she sold us these properties, my brother, the ones that he did see were amazing. When we originally were going to buy the 30, we ended up buying 20. And what happened there was he had already come back home, and she switched some of the properties in the package. And us being, so trusting, I went through it and I was like, this looks different. However, I didn't double check it. And then I realized afterwards that they were different. But long story short is those were the ones with issues, more issues, right?
Yeah.
So we have had to put out more money for repairs. We've had 3 evictions. 2 of them haven't gone into evictions. They ended up leaving before we actually get into the process. Not easy things, right? And one of the things I learned is that having a rental portfolio is a lot harder than probably owning one building with 20 tenants in it, right? Because I have a property manager, and keeping up with each home is a pain. It really is. So that's where we talk with my brother. And we're like, hey, man, strategy-wise, we got to go for apartment buildings. We know we have the funding. We know how to do it. We can do it. And then we also realize that, these portfolios, rental portfolios at a bigger scale, they're harder to let go. So, yeah, tons of issues there. If you want to pick at one, I don't know which one.
Yeah, I initially got to, all right, she changed the properties that you guys bought. How did your lender deal with that? Because that changes the collateral. And so he was loaning based on some form of ARV,
Yes.
valuation of those units, and you got different collateral. So how?
This was before it went to, like, this was pre-agreement, right? Like we agreed to these properties, and then when the properties were sent over to the lender and everything, and the valuation, we did an appraisal, we did all that. we did it all with the ones that she's only switched like 3, and those went in there. So she took out 3 that were pretty good and 3 that weren't, but they were similar prices, so we didn't really catch that. And that, that's part of being a little bit rookie there. But it went to lending. They did the title check, they did everything. They went to the title company. So all that was done. It was just done with the ones that.
He'll come back. I'll edit it out.
Okay. And then since you're gonna edit it, and then we'll talk about the trust issues, because excitement gets you sometimes.
Yeah. He's back.
Go ahead, Oscar, you're in?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, did you hear me or no?
No.
No.
You got cut off. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just saying that she switched it right before it went to the title, the lending company. So we had an LOI agreement, and then it switched, and this was all off market. We were doing all the due diligence. It was all on us. We were doing the inspection. So that's what ended up happening.
Okay. So did she change them for equal value, you think, or they were getting same rent? How did you rationalize, hey, we sent the LOI on these properties, but we're actually getting a package of these instead?
Well, yeah, so the rents were the same or better, right? On paper. And again, this was mismanaged. This was a lady who she had 300 properties, and she had all the stuff written on her notebook.
She had no system.
No system.
Like we would ask, we would ask for rent rolls or T12 or anything, and she would send us a picture of a piece of paper, like a yellow old piece of paper saying, hey, this is the tenants. Our tenants have been with us for the last 10 years, so and so, blah blah blah. And we're like, okay, cool. We're getting into this portfolio. It's mismanaged. We got plenty of opportunity. The rents were below market value as well. So we have like, and we still do. We had the opportunities to fix all this stuff, to flip the portfolio. However, things weren't as easy as we thought it was gonna be. She had no contracts with these tenants, so we jumped in. And again, there's no. Everything was verbal. Everything was on pieces of paper, napkins, and we're like, my God. So yeah, we learned the lesson. That was a big, huge mistake that we made.
A lot of people want to be profitable multifamily operators but lack the knowledge, deal flow experience, and capital to be successful. They often try to overcome these challenges out of order, slowing or eliminating their ability to get their next deal done. We've developed a framework that allows them to gain the knowledge they need to find profitable deals. When they do, they create the time and location freedom, as well as the generational wealth they desire for their family. The Myers methods of multifamily investing have proved to be the fastest way to establish credibility and profitably grow an apartment portfolio. If you want to know more about our 4-step process, jump over to myersmethods.com to get our free 4-step guide to getting into multifamily investing. Let's get back to the episode.
But there's an upside, right? There's an upside because like we ended up, for example, cash value. If it was a commercial, all commercial, it was worth like 1.2 million. If it was because they were all individual residential homes under 5 units, right? When they did the appraisal did not look at the cash at the NOI at what it was making. They said, no, these are individual homes. We're gonna look at them individually at what they're valued at. And the value came out at $821,000. So when it came to cap rate and looking at cash flow, it's an amazing deal. When it came to the value of the homes themselves individually, not that really, right? Because we're talking about low income area, and we're also talking about just a little more rundown homes. But the upside of it is that we're at 85, 87% occupancy right now. And the moment that we get it up to 95 and all that stuff, and we secure it, and we make it into a stabilized asset, property management, a system, we can market it as a recession proof, because this Section 8, the money's coming in. Section 8 is also paying utilities on some of them, right? So we've cut down NOI, we cut down expenses, and we feel like it's going to be an upside to it when we do go and sell it. Go from 800,000 to maybe $1 million, right? So we'll do that, and then we'll get into it bigger, which again was another of our missteps, is that we were pretty excited about this deal, and we're like, let's do it. That right after we did it, we had several other deals come by. We had a 50 unit, we had a 75 unit, and they were all off market. I mean, cheap, 1.2, 1.5, right there in Cleveland. And before this deal, we had the capital on our own to go into these. And we didn't do it because now we didn't have the capital, but we learned, we opened our eye. Yeah, everything's tied up, right? But we learned that we opened our eyes to like what we can now do, how we can move forward. And it takes that, that sweat equity to get you to learn these things and open your eyes up that, hey, you can go into 50 units. And you just have to find the right asset, find the right people, and team up or get some mentors.
That's awesome, man. So the law of the first deal is a real thing. That first deal is pretty difficult to get into, but once you get that first one, next one comes faster with a whole lot less effort, and then bigger. And you're a perfect example of that. So, you're in the deal. You've got the majority of your cash tied up in the deal. Are you going to start doing joint ventures or syndicate? Like, what's the next step for your business since you're in the space that you're in right now?
Good, Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, our goal right now is to start looking once we stabilize this portfolio. We want to get into syndication. So we opened up a company already. It's called GoodDay Capital, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find investors and go into large multifamily, 100 units plus.
Wow.
Yeah. So we started that company. I got in touch with a couple of lawyers. I'm sure you probably know the crowdfunding lawyers, Sidoti. They're pretty big now. A lot of people use them. But if you don't, you should. I mean, I've talked to them, and advice has been amazing. And when I do get into that point where we're gonna do a 506B or 506C, definitely going to use them because they'll set the whole thing up. But yeah, so we started this company. It's out in Delaware. Obviously, tax purposes, advantages there. But from there, we have, we started big social media engagement, reaching out to people, and we're building our investor base, right? We obviously can't solicit for non-accredited, but what we have so far, I mean, the power of social media, and we've talked to several other people, it's ridiculous. We've had about 400,000 in soft commitments just from the people that we've talked to on Instagram. I mean, our base has been growing ridiculously, and they see what we're doing, and we talk about it, and we get on phone calls like this, and we're like, hey, this is the analyzer tool that we use. This is how we do it. This is our mentors. Some of the people we look up to, Michael Blank, Vinny Chopra, we're gonna most likely go into his mastermind, and he's helping us. I mean, people who have done this, right? It's not like we're just out here doing it on our own.
Yeah.
We've learned from our own experiences, but we're gonna obviously have a mentor and someone who could take us to that next step and do it correctly, right? Why kill ourselves in a 50 unit when we can partner up, or and yeah, we're also open to partnering up with other syndicators, on the GP, co-sponsoring, you name it. We're open, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So you said at one point that you had to bring some more cash to the deal in order to get this 20 unit functioning properly. How much would you say you had to bring to the deal? And I just want to make sure I got that other part right. You guys didn't walk through every unit that you bought before you bought it, did you?
I did. I wasn't there, but German did not.
Yeah, so I did walk through all of them, the ones that we picked originally, right? But then during the negotiation, that's what happened. We were negotiating this certain price, and then she went and switched the units, the ones that I didn't walk through, because so it was her and her husband selling the units. So I went through the houses that she was selling, her property. But then during the negotiation and during the price negotiation, she went and switched. I think it was a couple of units from her husband's portfolio to hers into the package. I never walked through them. So again, the excitement, the trust issue. I mean, we believe in people because we wouldn't do that to people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you go ahead, you go in and you believe all these people, you trust these people, and you think
I
they're
mean, you
doing
had
good.
dinner. You had dinner with them, right? Like
Yeah, I went to
you
their
went to
house.
their house.
They took me around. I mean, they're nice people. They're not bad people at all. We made a mistake, right? The like I said, the excitement, the fact that we were thinking that we were like, okay, hot shots. Now we're getting 20 units here in one in one transaction. Let's do it. We can't do it. So that's one of the mistakes that she switched it, and instead of us being a little more putting our foot on the ground and be like, no, this is not the deal. We just went with it.
So was there any change to the process of acquisition that you guys made to make sure that nothing like this happens again?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, definitely we have to do a better due diligence. I mean, the due diligence, I mean, screams out loud. We talked about it like, hey, you know, I negotiated pretty well with them. However, on the due diligence part, we kind of slacked. And I think it like you said, it was the excitement, right? We went back and forth several times. There was like a month where we said no, we can't do this, and they came back and they said, hey, okay, yeah, we'll sell it to you, right? So we were pretty firm on certain things on price wise, but when it came down to the due diligence, we made that mistake of not walking through, not having someone on the ground walk through every single unit, or at least talk to the tenants. And part of it too, I mean, not to say that we were horrible at due diligence, was also that it was extremely difficult because it was so mismanaged, right? I mean, I'm telling you, everything was in a notebook, right? And we saw opportunity. We're like,
Yeah.
all right, if it's so mismanaged, we have an opportunity and upside here to turn it around. And once we stabilize it, either cash flow to us, or sell it out. And I think from there we learn we have to really be due diligent.
Yeah. And the fact that and we told ourselves once we were going through all this stuff, right? Um, we have to stick to the plan. We cannot deviate just because we get excitement, or they put something, some shiny object in your face, and you're like, okay, we go for it. So we discussed that, and we're putting it into the next acquisition, and you stick to the plan, and don't. I wouldn't say trust people, but it's just yeah. You gotta go. You gotta is everything that has to be black and white. You cannot deviate from that just because you like somebody.
So I'm reading a book, and one of the things they talk about is liking somebody doesn't mean that you trust them, and vice versa. You could trust
Exactly.
them. So I think that's a really prudent point there. And so the final question for the podcast is, what words of wisdom do you guys have? Oscar, go first, and then German, wrap us up.
Man, I would say due diligence, due diligence, due diligence. I mean, and kind of like what Jerome said is, just because you like them doesn't mean you can trust them. Make sure that, at some point you check your excitement, and, you make sure that things are being done correctly for your benefit, right? Because, I mean, like Grant Cardone says, if you're not selling, you're getting sold. And I think we got sold a little bit there, but we're working through it, and that's all you can do. You can work it out and manage in the next step. And I'm excited. I'm excited for what the future holds. German.
Yeah. For me, due diligence. But also don't be afraid to back out of the deal. You know, as good as it sounds, don't be afraid of backing out of the deal, because if you find, and it's true, and nobody's gonna learn it until they go for it. But if you're the kind of person that listens to other people making mistakes and you learn from other people's mistakes, just don't be afraid to walk out of the deal. You know, don't be afraid to hurt somebody's feelings because you say, "Hey, I don't want this anymore." So that's my advice.
Beautiful. Gentlemen, I really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing with our listeners. You've definitely given us some tremendous value related to the right way to do due diligence when you're going through the process. You guys are investing from a long way away, and I mean, it's absolutely tough to get that done. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate
brother.
it.
You made it to this juncture, so you really love what we shared on this episode of Myers Methods Presents Multifamily Missteps. Do us a favor, give us a 5-star rating, give us a review, and share this with somebody who's interested in multifamily investing. Until the next time, the pack is with you.